Well, it is loud up here. I want to try to energize the room a little bit. And since this is an acoustic seminar, I want us to do it with sound. So I'm going to take my cue from concerts and go, when I say Peter, you say Pan. Peter. Pan. Peter. Pan. When I say Peter, you say Pan. Peter. Pan. Peter. Pan. Oh, we're going to have to do it again. When I say Peter, you say Pan. Peter. Pan. Peter. Pan. Thank you. So a little bit about myself. I'm educated as a teacher and currently finishing my master's degree in pedagogical anthropology, which is a nice abstract title. Basically, it means that I, for pleasure and work, travel around the world to look at educational environments and study how the physical structures and the social behavior kind of interacts. And so far, it's taken me to hundreds of schools in 6 out of the 7 continents. I'm missing that one that you saw disappear there. And today, what I'm going to try and do is share some of my experiences from these different environments around the world. But first, I want to talk to you about 2 words that has immense meaning in my line of work, and which I think that you guys and everybody else out there actually use very loosely: teaching and learning. For me, these are 2 completely different concepts, but they're very often just put into the dialogue as if they were more or less the same. So instead of me talking about it, I think I'll try and show you with your help. So we're going to do it through this kind of word association game. If you haven't tried it before, it's very easy. I say a word, and then you say out loud the first word that comes to mind. You ready? Peter. Thank you. So I just taught you in about 3 minutes to associate Peter with Pan. And that's what I call teaching. I was standing here, you were all sitting there passively, and I taught you something. If we're going to try the same with learning, I'm going to again use the association game. But this time, I want you to not say anything and give your mind the freedom to associate with a smell, an imagery, a feeling, a memory, or even a sound. Okay? So here we go. Mom. Now, by a show of hands, how many of you out there thought about my mom? How many of you thought about your own mom? So this is not something I taught you what a mom is. This is something that you have learned on your own in very different settings, very different situations, and all of you have a little bit of a different idea of what a mom is. But that doesn't mean that every time we sit down to have a conversation, we have to define what is a mom. We accept the fact that we all know this concept, even though we learned it on our own terms. And so for me, therefore, teaching and learning are 2 very different things, and they happen in very different kind of processes. And I think both teaching and learning are very important in an educational setting. I think it's the teacher's responsibility to make sure that both teaching and learning is going on in the schools. But I think also that we need more learning than what we have today. The problem with changing from teaching to learning is that in doing so, we actually change everything we know about the organization and the physical settings of our schools. And that is much more complex than what we take it for. If we look at the teachers, no matter where in the world, they are educated in classrooms like they went to when they went to school. And then they're expected to, when they finish their teaching education, to go into other classrooms. And they're actually told at a teacher college or university that they should do group work and study individually and all these other things that we know is good for learning. They're taught in the universities to do that outside, mostly outside the traditional setting, like the formalized lessons. And then when they come to work after finishing, they end up here, and then we expect them to do what? Peter! You're learning a little bit. So let's take a random group of people and see what their options are. If we put them in a room with chairs, we expect them to sit down, just like here. If we put pen and paper and a board in front of them, we probably expect them to take some notes of whatever somebody is telling them. If we change out that paper with plates, they probably expect that we will feed them. If we put them together and in a cafe environment, we kind of expect that they will have a conversation. But if we change that environment to a library, we expect them to be quiet. So why am I saying this? Because it's so logical, and we all know it from office environments, and we know it from home. If we go into the bedroom, we expect we're going to go to sleep, and if we go into the kitchen, we will eat something. But I'm saying this because it's the same with the sounds, and it's the same with the educational environment, where we usually give them more monotone options. So we take a almost newly educated teacher here in the classroom. Somebody messed with my slides, I think. Here in the classroom, just before finishing. Here doing group work, and here studying individually. That's how you become a teacher. Then we go with her to her new job in the school. And on the first day, she will walk in and she will try, in whatever physical setting is available for her, to do what she's been taught to do, or what she has learned in her individual studying or group work. Namely, that the students should do most of the work themselves, because that's how they learn most, and she should not be talking. Unfortunately, in a physical environment like this, the acoustic environment is for one speaker at a time. So she will be struggling most of the day, trying to make this kind of learning work, and she will often end up in front of the class. Even though they're sitting in groups doing group work, she will stop them and she will say, group one, are you prepared to tell the rest of the class what you've done until now? And can anybody answer this question? And expect to get an answer from one person, because they all have to raise their hands to make sure that we only have one speaker at a time. So now we take this same teacher and put her into a diverse learning setting with good acoustics. And then let's see what she can do. When she wants the kids to do group work, she can go to an area that is designated for group work. So the tables are set up so that you can sit and talk. When she wants to have them doing quiet or individual work, like tests or writing or reading, she can go to a designated area for that. And the kids will know that here we talk in low voices, and we wait for the teacher to come all the way over to us, and we're almost whispering when we're having a conversation. And she can use all the experiences that she has from the teachers' college or the universities for knowing that, yeah, how did I used to study? Okay, so if I work very concentrated, I might need a desk or I might need a sofa, depending on what my activity is, and that she can use by finding different settings in this environment. But at the same time, she will need help from the other teachers teaching in the area, which luckily there will be, because nobody can afford to build all these possibilities for just one teacher in one class. So we will have to group them together. So there will be more adults working in the same area. And you can kind of mirror yourself. And you can use these other adults as your mentors and see how they do things. And sometimes you might even work together, all the adults, about the whole group of kids, and have different adult perspectives of how to handle the situations, and how to maybe have one of the adults going somewhere with the introverts while another adult is taking care of the extroverts. Sorry. Of course, there will still be a need for cellular spaces like we have today in the classrooms. Whenever you want to present something to the students, just one group of students, you need to take them away from the other students so that you're not interrupting whatever they're doing with their work. Also, if you have more personal or private matters like sexual education, you could imagine that the teenagers would love to be in a closed space where they're absolutely sure of who can hear what they're asking. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't have introductions and teaching and cellular spaces anymore. I'm just saying it would be nice if we have a more diverse setting where more possibilities are an option. So basically, when we talk about open learning landscapes or diverse educational settings, what we're talking about is areas. Here's one from Sweden and one from Australia. Areas that are open and provide you with multiple ways of doing things so that kids, as well as we expect adults in their life, can actually find out how they learn their best and find a place to do that. And one of the reasons that we also need them to be so open is because we also need to make sure that the adults can supervise what's going on with the kids so they can go and help where the help is needed. So it might be very simple when I put it like this, but it seems to be very complex when we're trying to implement it into schools. And one of the things that me as a non-acoustician is here to say today is, please help us. This is your task of how to do this. Because to do one cellular space for one purpose is one thing. But to do this for an everyday with around 150, 180 kids in an area like this and 6 teachers, that's a completely different task. Thank you.